Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Doctor Who Season 10, Episode 5. It's called Oxygen. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. So this one's set in space, or on a space station specifically. And Doctor, uh, Bill, and Nardole all go this time. We get the full threesome, as it were. On this space station because there's a distress call and the Doctor's being restless and wants to go adventuring, and it's because this space station, the currency, or not the currency, but the main thing it sells is oxygen. That is the main sort of money making thing. So you buy units of oxygen in number of breaths, and you're tied to your suit, and that's kind of what's going on. The ship itself, or the station itself, has no oxygen, and for some reason the suits are killing the people, and the people who are still left in the suits are still kind of walking around in them. It's not really them that's walking around, it's the suit that's walking around, but the person's still in it, so
it just happens to be a body still in the suit.
Yeah, so it feels like almost like a zombie story, even though the bodies are almost irrelevant when they're walking around. It's not really them. So that's going on, and they have to figure things out. Also, Nardole apparently used to date the operating system on the suit.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he used to date the actress that voiced the operating system.
What did you think of Oxygen?
I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was alright. I thought it was better than last week's, certainly. I liked the sort of cold open where it was just the two workers on the station. Like outside, it felt proper space like. It was. They had mag boots, the sound not being there outside the suits and that kind of thing. Even the fact that the way it was lit was very like anything beyond like a couple of feet of the station just looked like darkness. It was it was atmospheric. I liked that.
It was, yeah.
The people in suits were a little bit goofy, but made for at least a fun time. Because there was some comedy to come out of it. Especially when they find the first person who's in this suit and they think he's dead, and he's like, why is he just standing there? And Bill's reaction to it was pretty funny. So no, I had a good time. Obviously, the whole thing ends with a big sort of advancement, as it were, because we now have a Doctor who is blind,
which I think is fascinating. And when he went blind during the episode, I was like, okay, we saw it by the end because it always is. And I was like, this would be really interesting as the new status quo for at least for a little while.
Oh yeah, it's never going to last forever.
Yeah. I would say like that, but a few episodes at least would have been interesting. And then, lo and behold, they give it at least one more.
Yeah, because they did the fake out where you think it's been fixed, and he seems to act as if it's fine. And then next, final scene of the episode, you see him sitting in the sunglasses, and Nardole says, look at me or something like that, and he's like, I can't, Nardole. And immediately, as soon as he says that, you get that he's still blind.
Yeah.
But Nardole doesn't hear him, and they have to say it again, and he has to stand up and be all dramatic, like, I'll never see again. I'm still blind. Yeah. Like, very good, very good.
No, I really like it. I think it does something quite interesting.
No, I think it's a shake-up. I think it's in a season where, other than the vault thing, everything's felt very standalone. This is the first thing that's happened that feels very, this carries on. This is something that can change the way, shake things up, just the way the things go for the next. Because I think arguably most of the episodes this season so far have been very typical Doctor Who episodes. There's been no, reinventing the wheel. There's been no.
No, I agree with that. That's not necessarily a complaint, but.
I mean, I'm not saying there is a complaint per se, but it had to eventually shake things up. I had to eventually do something big.
To do something, yeah.
Because so far it's just very typical, standalone stories, Doctor Who and the companion going on an adventure. Some have been fun, some have been not so fun, but typically that's kind of...
That's Doctor Who in a nutshell.
Yeah. But no, so we seem to be going up to bigger things. Obviously, if I have any complaints, it's that I think that once they were on the ship, once the threat had been verified, I think maybe they could have played up the horror of it a little bit more.
Yeah, especially when it was all these dead bodies in the suits. That never really played into it.
No, I mean the one moment that it kinda did was when they look outside and there's like tons of the the zombies, as we'll call them, like on their mag boots walking around outside the station. But after that, it just kind of felt like they were a plot point rather than something that was threatening. As weird as that sounds. They were just
Yeah.
kind of there to advance the plot otherwise.
Yeah, it became instead just about the message rather than the actual episode itself at that point, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of became very much about, right, let's look at capitalism, and if we take it to its extreme end point, what do we get? And, it wasn't shying away from that in the slightest.
Yeah,
And I feel like,
almost to a fault where the if I almost forgot to keep the entertainment on top of it.
no, I agree.
Yeah,
That's the thing. Once it got into that, and it was so concerned with showing us the effects of that, and the characters that worked for the company dealing with that, it the spacesuits and the dead bodies in them kind of became irrelevant.
yeah. I feel like it kind of suffered a little bit once Bill was quote unquote dead, because her scene where she died was quite good because she complained about the doctor making jokes whenever there were something was coming to kill them, and then she thought she was dying. She said, "Doctor, tell me a joke," and then he didn't. And she's like, "Is that a good thing or a bad thing that he didn't tell me a joke?" Like that was a really kind of sweet moment, and she had a couple of good moments actually. I liked the whole blue alien dude and like the blue guy being like, "Oh great, they brought a racist," and
Yeah.
then her reaction to that. I mean, that whole thing was pretty funny and cool.
Was.
But the yeah, what was the latter part of it was definitely the weakest. I mean, I didn't dislike it, but it was definitely the weakest part, just in the sense that it kind of forgot to actually treat it like a sci-fi horror story, and just focused on the messaging and the because then even the trick they turn the capitalism, because how he wins ultimately is that he turns the capitalism back on it. He makes it more expensive to kill them than to keep them alive.
Yeah.
And
It's funny here how we're saying how like it focused so much on the message instead of being a good episode. And I feel like that's something that we've spoken a few times about with Star Trek in our journey through that. And obviously this opened with space, Final Frontier.
yeah, it did. Yeah, open
Yeah.
with those that line of dialogue. Yeah, which I appreciate.
I also appreciate, when they were saying the suits are Ganymede, and I just go
Yeah.
straight to expands now.
I thought the exact same thing. I actually I thought obviously we've talked a lot about this season about how the banter between the Doctor and Bill's been good. Also with Nardole, I liked in this one especially how like just some of the sort of back and forth. Why do you always tell me you always tell me a joke right before something's coming to kill us? What else are jokes good for? Like things like that. Like Nardole thinks he's taken out this vital component of the TARDIS so the Doctor can't fly away. He's like, "Who told you that was important?" "You did." "Exactly." And then he flips the switch and they go like it was fun beats like that. That's the stuff that at least certainly this season's been keeping me really entertained. Especially when the plots have been hit and miss.
Do you know what, something I did really like though? At the start of this episode, the idea of the Doctor longing for being out in space, going on his adventures, and it's we've kind of got little bits throughout the season. It was brought up really heavily at the start of this one though, but it kind of plays back into his origin, where he stole it and ran away because he wanted to go out on adventures and do things, and it kind of plays back into that.
Well, I think it's interesting. At the end, he's telling Bill about how, oh yeah, and after this, I think within 5 years, capitalism was dead and humanity was on to its next mistake, but that's another story. And I'm like, right, so you already knew that something was going to cause this, because he makes it sound like this is the domino that kind of ended capitalism.
Yeah. This happens a lot in Doctor Who, where all these events that he knows the history, but he doesn't realise he participates in them until later.
I don't know, I'm just...
Yeah.
It stuck out to me. I'm like, alright, but you just... So you knew something had to start this. It's like, he seems to be so well read in terms of history, and not just like actual history, like the entire history spanning thousands and thousands of years beyond us, right? But he conveniently doesn't know about certain things when the plot requires it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's that he doesn't know about it, or if it's just a case of he goes along with it anyway, because that's just how things do for him. I don't know. I feel like there's been a good few times where after the fact he's spoken about how he knew this would be the event that changed things or whatever, but he didn't realize that him participating in it was part of it until he was there and in the moment. But he still didn't know how he solved it. Just knew that he would, so he knew he'd get out alive, sort of thing.
Okay. It's almost like he has a cheat sheet, like knowing that he's... yeah, I know we're going to get through this because
Yeah. But that said, unless it's a fixed point, things can change.
True, true. That ever convenient writer's crutch that is the fixed point.
Yeah. Pick and choose when you want one.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, I thought it was a simple, fun episode. That did lose some of its fun once it just became about the message rather than just having fun stalking through corridors and stuff like that. Because that stuff's good.
Like you said, it's quite a simple episode, really, and there wasn't anything more to add to the vault. Not really. I don't think.
Yeah, I think the only part maybe there is that Nardole said, "What if you came back hurt or in some way? Our friend down there would be able to tell."
Yeah, they'd sense it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that has to be some sort of clue. That right there. That's
could be, but it doesn't give me enough to go on definitively towards any of the
oh
answers
no,
we've
but I think
speculated.
it at least tell. I mean, I'm not necessarily suggesting to have actual sensing powers. Oh, I mean, they could do. I mean, it's Doctor Who, but I think it implies more that they know him well enough that if they sense a weakness, they'll.
Yeah, they'll know to exploit it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what that means. More than anything else lately. But that's this week's Doctor Who. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff helps us out. You can also help us out one bit more by going over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv and seeing what kind of bonuses you can get for supporting the channel. But otherwise, guys, get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen for everyday ramblings, but that's always good. So once again, thank you very much for watching. We will see you next time. Have you got any vanilla?